What is good? What is good? What's happening, everybody? Welcome back for another incredible, inspiring, that word's going to be big, inspiring episode of the Good Service Podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Dunham, Joe D. For those of you joining us for the very first time, welcome. And we are so thankful and grateful that you are here. We are your source for good news, wholesome stories, inspiring stories around the good services that nonprofits and other service-based organizations are doing within their communities to make this world a better place. Sharing these stories around their community impact and what they are doing and how they are showing up. So we're so glad that you were here, however you found us, whether that was a previous episode, someone sent this to you. We don't care. We're just glad you're here. Welcome to the Good Service Podcast family. For our community, our audience, our friends, our family that continue to come back and that have been growing with us over these last almost 3 years, we thank you for liking, subscribing, referring organizations, and just sharing our story and what we're doing. You are what drives us each and every day. So without you, there is no us. So we thank you for trusting us to be here in such a way. Enough about me, enough about us. Let's dive into who's on the other side of the screen, on the airwaves. Very excited for this conversation. So today on the Good Service Podcast, we are joined by a remarkable guest who's redefining what it means to thrive in healthcare and beyond. Ike, also known as the voice behind Ike's Inspiration, which is the podcast, is a licensed pharmacist, accomplished medical writer, and an advocate for freedom through remote work. After years on the front line in pharmacies across the country, Ike transitioned to a new phase, helping other pharmacists discover their potential outside of their traditional 9 to 5, all while delivering soulful motivation through his powerful podcast. If you're ready for an inspiring conversation about resilience, reinvention, purpose, this is for you. A little more about the podcast. Ike's Inspiration is a weekly podcast hosted by himself. Again, he shares and dives into the guests that he has on, their backgrounds, how they are inspiring individuals. Also speaks around faith as well, not just the side of pharmacy, not just remote work and advocacy there, but he created the space to, again, motivate and empower listeners to live with purpose, freedom, and faith. So blending all those personal stories, spiritual insights, and career reflections, Ike offers a calm yet powerful voice that encourages everybody from all walks of life, helping you rediscover your why and align their lives with what truly matters. So whether you're facing burnout, which I know he has done and has overcome, navigating change, or seeking clarity, Ike's Inspiration is your reminder for that your story matters and that you have the power to pivot. Dr. Ike, Ike O. Let's jump in, man. Welcome to the Good Service Podcast.
Yeah, thank you, man. Wow, that was definitely the best introduction I ever had. So thank you for that, man. I am grateful, and thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure meeting you. You know, we met through a good friend named Robert Boyd, and when he told me about you, I was like, man, this guy sounds like a God-fearing man, someone that a connection that I can grow with. And, we met about a week ago, had some dinner, and lunch, and then we just kicked it off, and it's just been great, man. So thank you for having me on.
Man, what? I couldn't wait when Rob hit me up and let me know. He's like, hey, there's someone I really think you should meet. If you know Rob Boyd, which Rob Boyd was on the Good Service Podcast. Shout out Amplify. Shout out Wealth Builder Communities. Our Wealth Builder Community. Episode 3. I want to say episode 3. That takes it all the way back. Yeah. So Rob and I go way back to when I first moved to Atlanta. Shout out Leslie White, my sister, one of my best friends. They went to Howard together. That's how I met Rob. And so, I just trust Rob. I trust Rob with a lot of things. And when he reached out to me, I don't take that lightly. So, and obviously we connected via LinkedIn, got our numbers exchanged, and the rest is history. So, for our first time listeners, I usually will preface and share how I met our guest. But I know Ike dove in and beat us to the punch.
Yeah.
That's just excitement. That's fervor. That's just we're here. We're here. We talked about this moment and we're here. So again, shout out Rob Boyd. We love you, man. I know he's been a guest on your podcast as well. I actually tapped into both episodes. So just amazing conversations that you two have had.
Interesting fact, Robert Boyd was my first reoccurring guest, actually. Usually, every guest I had on, like he was, I usually have them one time, although I do want to have more reoccurring guests. He was the first one that came on again because I love him that much. So, yeah.
He's the man. He's the man with the plan, financial plan at that. So if you need any financial help, you want to talk REITs, investing, stocks, all the things, holler at Rob. But also, Rob just dropped his book. He's an author now. So he just dropped his book. It's mine.
Prisoner of Purpose.
Yeah, Prisoner of Purpose. It's about his personal story. Mine should be coming in the mail literally today. So I've been stalking my email and looking at, all right, when is it dropping? When's it dropping? So, Rob, we at the Good Service Podcast, all the love for you, brother. We appreciate you. We're grateful for you. But we're here to talk about you, Dr. Ike. You, Ike O, the man himself, the legend himself, Ike Inspiration, the voice behind the podcast. I would love for you just to dive right in, right? How did you arrive to having a podcast? And you're an accomplished medical writer. You're a doctor, right? You're a pharmacist. You invest in real estate. You're a DJ, right?
Yeah.
How did you, all of the things that you have your hands in, how did you come upon, hey, I'm going to start a podcast around, inspiration and inspirational things? So we'd love to share that origin story with the people.
Yeah. Well, honestly, God put this dream on my heart to inspire. And it's, I would say it's a huge calling from God. Since I was young, I always looked up to Martin Luther King, and I was like 8, 9 years old, and I would hear his speech, I have a dream speech. And my dad was also a public speaker. He's a Nigerian man who was the president of his Nigerian community. And I had the pleasure of watching him command crowds. And I've always had a natural inclination towards people who just can command a crowd. So I've always just get really excited speaking my truth and speaking publicly. And it's been on my heart, honestly, to just grow this platform and attract some of the biggest guests I can possibly be. So, I'm 77 episodes in, and I'm looking, I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. And the type of people I've been able to attract from doing this it's been incredible, man. Like, if I didn't start this podcast journey, I wouldn't have met you, like it's just, I just keep meeting incredible people. And I feel like God is using this platform for me to connect with other amazing leaders and inspire others,
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. It's, again, we've had plenty of conversations around our faith and, what that means to us both as God-fearing men, God-fed and God-led, as, the great Edwina Price would say. Shout out to my sis. But yeah, man, just, like you said, it's a platform that you had prayed, you're just praying to God. And I can agree with you on that. And I can see that, because that's how we got here with the Good Service Podcast. It was, hey, I was working underneath Asante Hill, one of my childhood best friends, my brother, and we've known each other 19 years. It's so crazy to say out loud, to think. But I moved to Atlanta to work under his nonprofit Valor Academy and to serve him and what he was doing in community. And when I got to the point of like, hey, thumbs up, you're good, assignment done, all right, great. I was praying to God, like, all right, what do you need me to do with my gifts? Mm-hmm. What does that look like? And immediately I woke up that next morning, and then I called a God moment. I have a lot of them when it's just so clear that he's speaking to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're going to do this, and this is how you're going to do it. And I'm like, I don't even listen to podcasts, bro. Like, what do you, me, podcasts, I don't even listen to them. I could care less for them. And this is what you want me to do. But it was very clear. And I already had a passion for service with nonprofits, obviously, since a young age, and giving back in the community and paying it forward. So, again, I can see you on that and being aligned with like, hey, this is definitely God's platform. And so, no, I love that for you, man. I love that for you. In that story that you shared, were you personally listening to any podcasts or attuned to any podcasts? Because again, like you have a very versatile and deep background in bag. Like again, DJ, pharmacist, investor, like so, first generation, a lot of that. So it's
no, that's a good question. If I had to say what really inspired me to actually start podcasting, or the idea actually came several years ago. I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast, and I'm a big fan of his podcast, but he did a particular podcast with Joe Rogan with Kevin Hart. And Joe Rogan and Kevin Hart just had this like incredibly engaging, inspiring conversation. And it was 5 years ago. And at that moment, I'm like, dude, I really want to start a podcast. And so I've always been thinking about it. I'm one of those guys where I'm like, I'm gonna change the world, and I don't know how, but this is my attempt to do it. And slowly but surely, each podcast episode, you get better at speaking, you get better at communicating, and I mean, there's so many things that I love about podcasting, but I would have to say my favorite thing about podcasting is the man I'm becoming. I'm so much more of an eloquent speaker. I'm so much more confident, and I have so much greater belief in myself because I'm just talking to incredible people from all around the world. You know what I'm saying? I had the pleasure of speaking to millionaires, pastors, NBA players, like and it's just and my mind is constantly renewing as a result of hearing all these inspiring stories. So all glory to God for putting these people on my on my platform. It's been a blessing for sure.
No doubt. No, Joe Rogan podcast, bro. Of course, it comes back.
Yeah,
it always finds a way. Like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, 6 degrees of Joe Rogan when it comes to podcasting. Like,
yeah.
I remember in college, a lot of my friends liked Joe Rogan, and I'm like, that's cool. Like again, podcasting was I'm like, it's a conversation that you can't be a part of. Why do you get so excited about it? Why do you care?
Yeah.
But similar in a way, like I love TED Talks. My high school friends would make fun of me because I loved LinkedIn because it was a place where I could go to talk to professionals that were in roles that I aspired to be in.
Yeah.
So I could pick their brains, or I could see what they were posting about and say, oh, this is interesting content. Outside of Twitter back in the day, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, those things, yik yak. I'm really dating us way back. I was able to at some point mature and understand, okay, this is why podcasting and people get excited about watching or listening to a podcast. But of course, Joe Rogan is one of the godfathers of podcasting.
Of course.
We'll say. Yeah. So, and of course, I love that it was a Kevin Hart episode that you had tapped into. I can't recall if I've seen it. The fact of the matter is that was something that helped you see it for yourself.
Yeah, and honestly, like before that, God has just always put the vision in my head. I believe God speaks to people in visions. My favorite biblical character is Joseph because he always gets these dreams, and I love how he's just always dreaming, and then he somehow makes his dreams come true. For me, I think God speaks to us in visions, and for me, whether I'm in the shower or I'm having conversations with my friends, I just keep thinking podcast. Or I love music, I DJ. Like sometimes I'll listen to Kendrick Lamar or Jay-Z, and I'm just keep thinking, one day I would love to interview these people. And God willing, like if I had to pick one guest to interview, it would be Kendrick Lamar. Like and it just keeps coming up in me, whether I'm watching another interview or I'm talking to a friend like you, the inspiration, the vision of in the back of my head, it just keeps coming. And then outside of the vision itself, whenever I'm podcasting and having deep, inspiring, intellectual conversations, I feel so alive. I feel so joyful. I feel like I am myself, like the greatest version of myself that I can't explain.
Oh man,
you know what I'm saying? No, seriously, because you mentioned
I know.
I work as a pharmacist. I work as a real estate investor. I work as a DJ, but nothing like podcasting. None of that stuff makes me feel alive like podcasting does, which is why I continue to do it and why I'm 77 episodes in, 2 years into it, and hopefully, God willing, I can do this for the rest of my life because I really enjoy doing this.
Bro. You're going to do it the rest of your life. You're going to do it in a major way, ways that are unimaginable to you. So keep the faith, keep going, stick to your processes, stick to your systems. you're 77 episodes in, bro.
Yeah.
Like statistically, when people start podcasts, I don't know if you knew this or not, 97% of podcasts are quote unquote failures because they don't make it past episode 3. And then after making it past episode 3, of that 99%, so then now we're 3%, only I want to say it was 0.378% of that 3% make it past 10 episodes. So again, like, and that's crazy. That's success. You have been successful.
Yeah.
Like, you have been a success. You're a growing success. So like, keep doing what you've been doing. I can't wait to tag Kendrick Lamar on this. Toes to pull up to Ike Inspiration. Jay-Z to pull up to Ike Inspiration. Who else is on the big board for you? Trying to get him on Ike Inspiration.
I can go on forever, but Nas, Giannis, some of my favorite authors, Chris Williamson. I can
It's
go
on its
on.
way. It's on its way,
and
you already know that.
And
it's a matter of when. It's a matter of not if. That's something that, again, just comes with faith and just believing and also seeing a vision. It's and also being a visionary. It's tough because no one else can see that vision that you have, and that's what makes it a blessing. And I hate saying a burden. Oh my gosh! Like, and people say it's a blessing and a burden, but that's what just makes it frustrating at times when I can't necessarily show you, and when I tell you, you still don't see it. So it's like, all right, well, just when it's done, then you'll understand.
Exactly.
But that's also a part of this path that we're both on with our platform. So I see you for sure.
That's why I was so quick to meet you, because where I was like, oh, this guy's a podcaster from Atlanta, and the podcasting journey it's been a pretty lonely one, because you don't, I mean, podcast is becoming more popular, but it's not so popular that like literally you can just walk down the street and and you see people do it, and then most people quit. Most people might do a podcast, like you said, for like a week or two or a couple episodes and then stop. And I think the real reason is because they thought the money was lucrative, or they see people just talking on a mic and are getting a lot of views, and they're like, oh, I can do that too, only to realize that there's a lot more work to it. And honestly, like, the reason, one thing that podcasting has taught me is I had to redefine what success looks like for me, and honestly, I've been, as long as I've been podcasting, I haven't made any money out of it, and I'm okay with that. Like, and the views aren't as crazy as I would like it to be, but the level of fulfillment and excitement and connectedness to life I feel is out of par, and that's real winning to me, in addition to the relationships I'm building too. So I feel like podcasting has changed the way I look at what success is and what brings me happiness. And I think more people need to do that, because I've had the pleasure of speaking to so many millionaires, and I love hearing their stories and what inspires them. But something that I've noticed is that actually a lot of these super wealthy people, or people who are doing pretty well, including Rob Boyd, once you actually talk to them about the actual business or like what makes them money, they don't get that excited to talk about it. It's kind of weird. Like, it's like they don't, because I don't think anyone likes being defined for what they do. They rather be loved for who they are. And I've noticed that.
Hey, yo, time to say that again. Say that again.
No one likes to be defined for what they do. People want to be loved for who they are. You know what I'm saying? There's truth to that. You know what I'm saying? And I've noticed that like maybe 10 or 15 episodes in, when I was speaking to real estate investors and entrepreneurs, that like they don't get excited talking about the marketing scheme or whatever. But once I actually start talking to them about their real struggles and trials and tribulations and all the stuff they overcame, like they get a lot more excited talking about like who they are, not necessarily what they do, and it's just interesting,
No, you said a lot of good things there, bro. There's one thing I want to come back to that you said a moment ago, and it was that sense of self and self-worth and just looking at yourself and being more confident. I know that you went through a string of burnout when being a pharmacist, and I know other pharmacists that have said this as well. But what has that journey been like for you? To not just rediscover yourself, but to build, right?
Yeah.
Like what took you to that dark place of burnout and just, having those not so great conversations with yourself, and then since podcasting and doing what you've been doing,
Yeah.
again, like feeling your ultimate self.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I graduated from pharmacy school in 2019, and about like several years ago, and graduated in Boston. And after college, you're looking for a job and whatnot. So I was applying for a bunch of jobs, and I got a really good job offer in Philadelphia at Rite Aid. So pretty much I went to Philly, and I was making a bag. I was getting paid like maybe 130K a year working at Rite Aid. But that's at Rite Aid, you know, when you work at these corporate pharmacies and corporate environments, you that's where you start to experience burnt out. And there was days where I was working 5 12-hour shifts in a day. I mean, in a row, and it was just back to back to back to back. And the worst thing about pharmacy, the like corporate environments, is you can work your tail off, and they won't really give you the appreciation or make you feel like you're working hard. They'll look at your numbers and be like, "Oh, why didn't you get this many amount of vaccinations?" Or like, why didn't you do this many amount of prescriptions today? And it's like, bro, I'm literally all by myself. There's only so much I can do. So there's a lot of gaslighting, in my opinion, and there's also a huge lack of transparency. And personally, I never felt really aligned working at those corporations. So essentially, well, I actually got fired, and they fired me. And to be honest, like when I got fired, I actually wasn't sad because even though I was making a lot of money, I knew that wasn't the career path. So, and honestly, at the time, I didn't have the courage to quit. Looking back now, I would have quit much faster, but I
Yeah.
didn't know what else was there, you know?
A young Ike, you like the out of body experience. Just walk out, bro. Just,
Yeah, just get out of there. Just get out of there. This isn't for you. But the thing is that when you don't know any better, you just stay in. And I think a lot of us we get we get limited by how much we know. And at the time, I didn't
Mhm.
know about remote pharmacy work. Like every time I tell people, "Hey, I work from home as a pharmacist," everybody's like, "What? How do you do that? That's not even like a thing." I didn't even know, and I'm a pharmacist. So it was actually during the pandemic when once the pandemic rose, like remote work just started going crazy, like, and because everyone had to work from home. And I got a call to work at United Healthcare, and they called me and they said, "Hey man, we're looking for a pharmacist, would you like to work from home?" And I was like, okay, sounds nice, and ever since then I started working at United Healthcare as a clinical pharmacist, and that was good. And then yeah, slowly but surely, once I got my first taste of working from home, I'm like, yeah, I'm never working at a retail store again. Never working at a corporate field or like a physical environment. It's not, it's just not for me. If you do that, that's cool, but I love working from home. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, I was excited to learn more about and this is me being selfish, but
Yeah.
the at-home pharmacist. You were an at-home pharmacist. You're remote. So, as I've been preparing and going through my notes, I'm just like, and the research, I'm like, this is crazy. Like how you can be an at-home pharmacist is
Yeah.
nuts, right? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
just to learn about that, why pharmacy? Why did you want
Yeah.
to become a pharmacist?
Well, I'm Nigerian, so the
I
so
mean,
yeah,
it's either
you
you're
already
a doctor, you're a
yep.
lawyer, you're
Exactly. So that was my parents' definition of success. You're either a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, and if you're not, you're a failure. So they kept pushing me on that path. And as the oldest son, they wanted me to lead by example. But also, I was also just naturally good at the maths and sciences, and God has blessed me with great intelligence and the ability to learn. Like I learn things really quickly, and I love to learn. So I stick with it. And even though at the time, if I'm being honest, it wasn't something I was passionate about or always wanted to do, looking back, I'm so glad I did it
yeah,
because one is developed great character in me, and two is pharmacy may not be my passion, but it funds me everything I really want to do. If I didn't have pharmacy, I couldn't invest in real estate. If I didn't have my job as a pharmacist, I couldn't do this podcast. You know what I'm saying? The Ike Inspiration podcast. If I didn't have my job as a pharmacist, I couldn't have moved to Atlanta, wouldn't have meet people like you and Rob, and just and truly create the life that I desire. So pharmacy may not be like my passion, but it
Yep.
funds everything that I love to do, and that's why it's important for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talk more about that, right? I know in a lot of your episodes, especially early on, there was a lot of conversations around burnout and
Yeah.
discovering purpose. I would love to hear from you just on, some tips and tricks that people can just, as they listen or watch
Sure.
this episode, hopefully they do both. and
Yeah.
share. But, what would you say as someone that has lived, that perspective and has
Yeah.
that experience of, hey, listen, I understand what this is
Yeah.
and what it means for me, but also what it does for me, what it allows
Yes.
me to do in those other areas. So how can you, what were just your practical takeaways that you could share with some folks that are tapping in on how to just reframe how they're looking at their situations right now and how to go after what they really want?
Yeah. I would say, that with to not necessarily be defined, but like I said, not what you do. Actually, for me, one thing that really helps is journaling. And I read this book called The Artist's Way by Cameron, and in it she talked about this habit that changed her life, and it's called the morning pages. And pretty much every morning you just wake up and you write 3 pages, or whatever stream of consciousness is whatever just you're feeling. And I've been doing that for 7 months, and since I've been journaling every single day, it's hard to explain the direct results, but my life has completely changed because it's really allowed me to hone in on what's important to me. And it also feels like my own quiet time with God, because after I
Mhm.
read the journal, then I read the Bible too. And then I get some more like clarity on who I am, because journaling helps you understand who you are, because it's just you in the book, and it's not social media telling you who you are. It's not maybe your parents or your friends or your haters or whatever telling you who you are. It's just you and that book, and you
Bump
get
the
more
haters.
clarity. Yeah.
No, I love it. All right,
Yeah.
journaling. I'm big on journaling as well.
Yeah.
So again, I appreciate that perspective and that nugget there for people to take home, just to help them again reframe their mindsets, relook at some things. Like the glass is always half full,
Yeah.
so it's like and it's going to be overflowing very soon. We just got to get to a place where you see that and you believe that. So I love that
Mhm.
journaling has been that for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
journaling it's funny when I feel like that Mr. Krabs meme when it's like everything, like it's like, okay, what am I not doing? What have I gotten away from? And usually one of the first things
Yes.
is journaling consistently.
Yeah.
I have alarms in my phone before I go to bed. How was your day? Like, I'll even
Yeah.
bring it up right now. Hold on. What's it say? All right. Review and adjust. Reflect on the day. One thing I'm grateful for. One thing that brought me tension. One win of the day. Did I accomplish everything I set out to do? What adjustments need to be made to execute everything tomorrow? How do I feel about my day? Focus. Challenge of the day. Focus is
Mm.
right. So like that's at the end of the day. And sometimes it's just like a voice note to myself. I do like to write. I have so
Yeah.
many just like books around here that if someone's just like, bro, what is this? I was an old journal. I couldn't tell you. I mean, some of them are dated, some are not. But I know I can go look at an old journal and be like, man, what was I going through in 2021?
Yeah.
And I seeing my mindset. And that just
Yeah.
shows personal growth and
Yeah.
confidence in who I am and where I'm going. Um, it's
But
funny, man, just the power of writing. I love to write as well because I feel as though, again, that's my connection also. Like you said, the quiet time.
yeah.
I also believe that's another way to connect with God is like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm having a conversation with myself, but also obviously you're always with me in every place. So you're seeing this. I'm getting this out of my mind, which is like the most important thing is like get it out of my mind and onto paper. And then it's just like a, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah.
My favorite Bible verse is Romans chapter 12 verses 2, and it's, do not conform to the patterns of the world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, so that in testing you may discern the will of God. And I think the reason why I brought up that Bible verse is, journaling, everyone heard about it, but I also think it's not only do you journal, but I think one thing that's been really helpful for me is looking back and rereading your past journaling, because you start to understand how much your mind is renewing and how much you're transforming. And part of growing older is your desires start to change. You know what I'm saying? Maybe one day you're chasing women all day. Now you want to be a husband, or maybe one day you wanted to party all day. Now you just want to acquire real estate or whatever. Like, part of life is just constantly growing, and I think it's important to acknowledge those changes and desires, and I think journaling allows you to accept them, because sometimes it's hard to switch, or you don't want to, or you don't, or being defined by a box can be, being defined by your title can be hard. I used to, you know something that was hard for me to branch out into DJing and podcasting and more creative things was working as a pharmacist. And it's kind of, it's not A and B. Usually my parents don't really encourage that creative side, being African and whatnot. So journaling and tapping into that allowed me to be more creative, for sure.
I love it. And it's a great reminder for me too. Just the power of it, to stay in it. Don't walk away from it. Even if I can't in the morning, I'm big on gratitude. So I write 10 things I'm grateful for. And then I say them out loud. It could be, the other days, I'm grateful that I'm able-bodied. I'm grateful that I have food in the fridge. I'm grateful that I have a working car. It may not be, the Lambo truck, but it's like, I have a car that works, that's reliable, that I love, that loves me back. So it's like, again, that's also a muscle. Gratitude is a muscle. Journaling is a muscle. I love what you said about what you've received from it is hard to explain, because it's hard to explain. Like, it is so hard to explain. It's just like, we have such energy and the Holy Spirit within us. Put it on paper and be grateful and practice that. And then just watch how other things, just even when things are tough, that's probably one of the hardest. It's probably one of the hardest times. And when things are tough, is to still rejoice and be glad. I'll be honest. I've struggled with that recently, because it's like, I'm so like, okay, you've given me this vision, the plan, let's work the plan, let's work the plan, let's work the plan. And then these other things are impeding on that plan. And it's like, bro, and now I'm mad, it's throwing me off the game, and I'm not, being as consistent in all of the journaling, right? And so it's like, we're supposed to be rejoiceful and joyful, and when it comes to short suffering and long suffering. So, nah, man, I'm so glad we're here, bro. Like,
Same,
I'm so glad we're
man.
here, man.
Same.
Like, for real. And shout out Metro Diner in downtown Atlanta, West, where we met for lunch or brunch. And your French toast was fire. I was skeptical at first. Pictures look great, and that's what I told you. Like, pictures look great, and then you get there, and it's like, oh, now I got to pay for this. But nah, like, if y'all are in Atlanta and you're in the Midtown area and you're looking for old school diner feel, because I didn't even know that place existed, bro. So shout out to you for putting me on.
No, you're welcome, man.
Great. I can't wait to go back. So
I'm down to go back, man. I had some chicken tenders, bro, and I enjoyed it. But I saw your French toast, and I kind of wish I switched orders. So,
that order envy's real, bro. That order envy's real. But now you know. Now you know next time. So, maybe we shoot the next episode.
Dude, that would be lit. I'll be with that.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Whatever God has for us. But
for sure.
No, man, I truly, I believe that what you have been doing for the last 77 episodes and for the next 77 and the other 77 after that is a good service, man. Like, you're bringing light to such a dark world right now. You're having fun conversations. You're having uplifting conversations. You're having inspiring, conversations, inspirational conversations. So, how did you come up with the name? I mean, I don't want to say it's what's the origin story? I mean, I don't want to say it's obvious, but for some, well, don't know that. So please share with the people how you're like Ike Inspiration.
Well, Inspiration is actually my favorite word. And so, and
Why?
then I like the alliteration. Well, the reason why inspiration is my favorite word is I personally believe God called me on earth to inspire others. And when I inspire other people to be greater or do better, the feeling is like the greatest feeling I get when someone like calls or texts me like, "Hey, I just watched this episode and now I'm investing in real estate," or "Hey, thank you for that text message. Like, I'm reading my Bible," or whatever type of thing I can inspire. Like that makes me so happy. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so I would say that's part the origin. But actually, too, before I did Ike Inspirations podcast, I actually used to blog on Instagram, and the name of the blog was Music for Inspiration. And basically, what I would do is I would watch interviews of this incredible, like, uh, interviews of artists, like it could be whatever Jay-Z, it could be a Breakfast Club interview, and I would take like little piece of wisdom and inspiration from it, and I'll just post it on there. And if it, and and I would do that I was doing that consistently for about like 2 years, and it was going viral and viral and viral. And even though I was going viral and I was getting a lot of attention, I didn't really, I didn't like. It was awesome, but I was like, all right, I think I can conduct these interviews better than the actual interviews I'm watching. So I was like, all right, let me get on the arena and actually like
Hey,
start
talk your
interviewing these
talk,
people.
bro.
You know
Talk
what
your
I'm
talk.
saying? Yeah. No, I truly believe that, and
Yeah.
I like to be humble, but I think God has blessed me with an incredible skill. And and it's not even just me saying I'm a great podcaster, but I've done podcasts with so many interviewers, and time from time, especially after the conversation, they're like, "Man, like, dude, you have a natural talent, man. You got to keep going." And I personally believe God speaks to people through people, and if I literally keep getting that, like, literally, maybe like a third of the episodes I do post conversation, they're like, "Bro, you're like incredible at this. You got to keep going on." I think it'd be foolish to not listen to that, and then people like you too are very encouraging in my journey as well.
It's all love, brother. It's all
Yeah,
love. It's I see you, right? Like I
yeah,
see you for sure, and definitely keep going. Yeah, it's again Ike Inspiration.
yeah.
He's on all platforms. He's
Thank
everywhere.
you.
So LinkedIn, he has a page. He's on, of course, Instagram.
Yes,
He's Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
yes,
you name it. He's everywhere.
yes.
YouTube, got the YouTube channel. We'll
YouTube.
get to that towards the end of the show. We're far from
Yes.
that right now,
Yeah.
but thank you for sharing how you came up with Ike Inspiration. Um,
Yeah.
the origin of it, the name, all the things. It's dope, man. It's dope,
Thank
and
you.
it's cool. All the Ikes in my life are really like the dopest people. My childhood
Really?
best.
Oh, so I'm not the only Ike you know.
Nah, you're not the only Ike I know. But like, they're all dope. Like
Yeah.
my homie, childhood best friend Ike. His last name's Ikard.
Really?
So shout out Tyler
Yeah.
Ikard. That's the All American. That's my dog. That's my
Yeah.
dog. He love him to death. Everything he touches turns to gold. He's just God fearing as well. Again, like I used to joke, I'm like, bro, you are Superman. Like you are Clark Kent, like to the T. And then you had my craziness of us growing up. My homie Ike Ubansky, he's here in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
He has an amazing organization called Grow or Die. It's for self development, personal development, professional development. He's just created an app. The app surfaced in April, but it's a group. You sign up, you kind of just share your day to days, what's going on, how things are going. Like, hey, I said I had this goal for the week and I hit it. And again, there's people, men and women of all walks of life. Um, they built this community and it's thriving. So again, another dope Ike, and then of course yourself. Of
Yeah.
course
Thank you.
yourself, man.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
again, if this is a lesson and a gem for you all that's listening and watching. If you don't got an Ike, get you an Ike. Go find you an Ike. Walk the
Yeah.
streets of where you live. Go to the nearest, food hall. I don't know how popular malls are. Where I grew up, the
Yeah.
malls in Ohio, in Dayton, Ohio. It's just like, but Linux is here, so
Yeah.
people go to wherever the most people are and be like, I need an Ike, and just let
Yeah.
gonna pop up. Pray about having a Nike in your life. Everybody needs some Nike.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of the I've also had the pleasure of meeting a lot of Ikes too. And it's funny, all the Ikes I've met in my life, yeah, they're great. And I think just being Nigerian, like I'm naturally more inclined to meet people like me. So yeah, I'm curious. All the Ikes you met, they're all Nigerian too, probably, right?
No.
Oh, okay, cool.
No.
Oh.
I think IQ is. I'm pretty sure IQ is. Tyler Eichard. I mean, again, his last name's Eichard, but we called him Ike.
Yeah.
He also played linebacker, so he was the Mike linebacker. So he was Ike. It's just a whole thing. American football. As you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Tyler is again Clark Kent. Like I kid you not, if you put Clark Kent's picture and Tyler Eichard next to each other, especially if he does a certain thing with his hair, they're
Yeah.
like twins. I'm excited to see the new Superman movie because again, I'm going to probably send him a picture and be like, bro,
This is you, bro.
again, there you go on the big screen. So even though I think Henry Cavill was the best Superman up to this point, I got to see the new Superman to give that take a further investigation. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, no, Ike is white, but it's all love every which way, which way. Bro, let's talk about how'd you get into DJing? Like, I'm curious, how did you get into every little bit of your extracurriculars? So real estate investing, DJing, because again, you were you went the doctor route, to give mom and dad but real passions lie within inspiration and inspiring others through your platform. But yeah, like how did you get involved just at a high level into real estate investing, into DJing?
Yeah, I think naturally I'm an explorer and an avid learner and an avid reader. And I think me having ADHD, I just have this inclination to just want to do all these different things, and I just need to keep my brain stimulated. So to answer your question about DJing, I love music. I literally listen to music. Like before this conversation, I was listening to music, and I listen to music at least like 3 hours a day, and I love hip hop. I love R&B. I used to blog about music on Music for Inspiration, now transformed into Ike Inspiration because I want to give myself more power, and yeah, I love music. So actually, it was actually with a friend. My friend was like, always every time we get in the car, we hang out. Like, he's like, yo, you're literally always playing music nonstop, and the music is fire. So he's like, have you ever thought about being a DJ? And as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, that hit, like that made sense. And then at the time, I just moved to Atlanta, and Atlanta, was like the music scene, and culturally we're known for music, and a lot of the type of music that's popular in Atlanta I like, Afro beats, hip hop, and R&B. So I gave it a try, and I did it successfully. I made a couple $1,000s, and I got a lot of gigs, and I had fun. And honestly, it's just a hobby, but it's a hobby that I'm so glad I did, because now I can say I'm a DJ, and it's always in me. If I ever want to get back to it, like, or if someone say, hey, we're looking for a DJ, or if a friend wants to party, hey, hit me up. I'll do it gladly, But I'm not out there like aggressively marketing myself, but it's a very fun pastime, Yeah.
Fire. How about the real estate side of things?
Yeah, well, the real estate side of things, I have a deep desire to be wealthy, and I'm very ambitious.
Where's that come from? That deep desire and that ambition?
That's a good question, man. I don't know, man, and I really introspect about this, but when I think about it a lot, I think it comes from a deep desire to give back. When I got my first paycheck from my pharmacist check, I gave it all to my parents. And like, it wasn't even about me. I just gave my money to my parents. I was like, oh, you guys can have it. And then the second paycheck I used for myself. And I think that spirit of giving is truly what I embody. And the reason why I desire to be wealthy is because the more I have, the more I can give, But I also have to constantly remind myself that I'm already enough, so I can give enough, But I still want to get more so I can give more. But right
Yes,
now, there's so much
bro.
I can do to give,
Come on, man.
Yeah, there's so much
Yes.
I can do to give. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I
But
do.
the
The major
the
way, I do.
desire for wealth comes from reading books, watching YouTubers, and I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think that's like a famous book that introduced a lot of people to real estate. And once I read that book, this thing started to like turn on my mind where I was like, oh, this is how like rich people this is how people get rich, bro. Because like I was in my young 20s, just even the thought of being rich or like making a lot of money, I didn't know anything about it. Just didn't even seem
I'm
like
gonna pause you real quick.
possible. Yeah.
I'm gonna pause you real quick. You're still young, by the way, bro.
Yeah.
Proceed. Resume.
Thank you. Yeah, of course. Yeah, only 30. I gotta remind myself. But anyways, yeah. So I that book really lit a spark in my fire, and I just started doing a lot of researching and reading. And I like learning about finances, and I just like learning in general. So I bought my first house in Philadelphia, literally like a couple months after the pandemic, and I got it using like an FHA loan, and that was great. Psychologically, what it did for me was it empowered me, and to get one
Hmm.
at 24, I think it does something towards how you look at yourself, self-image. Not that real estate defines who I am, but it gave me a lot more confidence. And then I'm not gonna lie, once you start getting those monthly rent income, bro, even to this day, I've been doing this for like 6 years. It's great. It's a great feeling. Like, you know what I'm saying? I could be playing video games. I could be hanging out with you. And I look at my phone. It's like, oh, you have. It's like wow. So I love that feeling. But honestly, there's been a lot of ups and downs that come with real estate. But just like podcasting, I love the man that I'm becoming from doing this. And I look at real estate as a long-term game. It's like what the Bible says when Jesus talks about dropping seeds, you know what I'm saying? And when you drop the seeds, some of it is gonna grow 100-fold. When I read that part of the Bible, I always think about real estate. Like, you dropping good seeds, and then later on, like when you plant those seeds, it's gonna grow. So I brought 3 real estate properties. I own one in Atlanta, and I feel very blessed to be even to say that, to have 3 properties by the age of 30. I know a lot of people can't even get one, so I'm extremely grateful to have that ability to purchase and buy real estate. So yeah.
Amazing, bro. No, I
Yeah.
just again like seeing you come alive too to talk
Yeah.
about that. Like that was fun. That was special. So I appreciate you sharing.
Thank you.
Um, man, listen, ladies and gentlemen, folks that are tapped into the Good Service Podcast right now, it's that time. We're now moving into the second portion of the show conversation.
Okay.
It was once formerly known as Mind, Body, and Soul. RIP to Mind, Body, and Soul. A little rebranding, and now we want to introduce you to In Good Light. So I love it. I love it. I'm biased a little bit, but it makes sense. The Good Service Podcast, In Good Light. What this is, Ike, and for our first time listeners and viewers, is a rapid fire round. And it's not necessarily as rapid fire as I imagined it to be, because good questions require good answers. And so
Yeah.
it was supposed to be a knee jerk sort of thing,
Yeah.
but it ended up not being that. So
Okay.
just
I'm all
an
for it.
opportunity to really get to dive in deeper and know who Dr. Ike O is. So
Yeah.
the man of many talents, a man of many gifts.
Thank you.
But of course, bro. Of course, you're welcome. My first question is, it has to come to like, how do you like? What's okay. What's your favorite episode that you've done of all 77? What is your favorite
Oh
episode that
man.
you've ever done?
Man, that's so hard, man. That's a good question.
I know it is.
Because I enjoyed a lot of my conversations. Man, that's a hard one.
Because you
I
love them
would
all.
say, yeah, you love them
Like
all.
you
They're
love them
very
all for what they do
inspiring.
for you, for your
Yeah,
audience. I get that question
exactly.
all the time, and it's like, man. So I'm excited to get to ask it to somebody else.
I would say if I had to pick one, it would probably be there's a guy named Derek Sivers. And he's a very intellectual, like free thinker. And what I really enjoyed about that conversation was two things. One, you know how I said, oh, one day I'm gonna interview Kendrick Lamar and Jay-Z. He's a famous author that was on my list. He was also, oh, one day I'm gonna interview Derek Sivers, and being able to do that, I was like, I said that, and like, I've been doing it for 2 years, and like 2 years later, I was able to interview him, and the conversation was so free flowing, and then after the conversation, he says something to me that I would never forget. That I was just really, I don't know, it really increased my confidence as a podcaster. But he's been on some huge platforms, like the Tim Ferriss show, and just he's done. He told me, he literally told my advice. He's like, I have done over 200. I have been a guest on over 200 podcasts. He said you're one of the best podcasters I ever spoke with, and I was like, wow, like. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a pretty humble person, and I kind of suffer from imposter syndrome. Not that I'm not confident, I'm incredibly confident, but I'm
Oh, I
not
know
used
you
to
are.
receiving like people telling me I'm doing well or whatnot. So to hear him say that, and it's not just from someone who like done a podcast once or twice, like he's been on like huge platforms. He literally told me, he's like, hey, you're better than like a lot of these famous podcasters. So that gave me confidence to keep going, and it meant a lot to me too, because I also love his books too. So yeah, I would have to say probably the one I did with Derek Sivers. It was, the conversation was great, and just the ability to connect with great people is just awesome.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, I love that. That's really special. Thank you for sharing that with me. And again, to the other 76 episodes, he still loves y'all. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No.
Yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
no. What did he
No.
say? No
No.
tea, no
Yeah.
shade, or whatever.
Yeah. No
Uh,
shade. No shade.
no shade at all.
No
No
shade.
shade at
No shade.
all.
No shade.
Okay. Again, obviously you're a doctor. You're a
Yeah.
pharmacist. You
Yeah.
have sickle cell disease, pain
Yeah.
management publication. Do
Yeah.
you have sickle cell yourself? Like, how did that come
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was born with sickle cell, and honestly, it's been a tough journey having sickle cell. When I was young, it was very tough on me. I had acute chest syndrome. I had
Mhm.
pneumonia, and I suffered from crises where I would literally have like I would not panic attacks, like just incredibly painful episodes that could last for hours. And
Mhm.
it's hard. It's hard to talk about sickle cell because if you don't have it, you don't understand. But I try to describe the pain. When the episodes are really bad, I would say, I like to say that women say that the episodes are just as bad as bearing birth. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how
Mhm.
bad it is. And that was what I was going through literally like almost every month or two with sickle cell. And so it's been tough on me. I was incredibly skinny. I was very I was very fatigued, but I was always still in high spirits, and that's something about me that I'm very grateful for. I have a lot of resilience, and
For sure.
it's a battle I've overcome. I've overcome, and today, like, I still have sickle cell disease. It's not like I was cared for it, but I don't. It's not like a reoccurring event. I learned how to take care of myself, and part of being a doctor and a pharmacist, I gained the education needed to understand what my body needs. So it was cool. Like, that was kind of a cool part about being a pharmacist. Like, it helps me learn more about health in general and how to navigate the healthcare industry, and take care of myself. And when I'm seeing doctors, like, I can speak their language, so they can't just like bullshit me around and say, "Oh, dude, like, no, I know what you're talking." You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like, yeah. So it was yeah, it was great. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That's there's again, my heart's with you. My heart's with anyone that is confronted with um carrying sickle cell, it being active. I have friends in my life that similar to yourself are in a place where it's more dormant and
yeah,
understand it now because also the advances of medicine as well.
yeah,
also like no one else in their family suffered from it. So like their parents didn't
Yeah.
know how, so just again, with your background of being a doctor and
Yeah.
everything, having that publication, I just thought I was curious around the story of, why that specific publication.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually really passionate about it, and like you say, I'm a jack of all trades. I have a YouTube channel called Sickle Cell with Dr. O, that I actually post from here and there. And again, it's I felt called from God, and I still do to this day, to serve people with sickle cell, because I, even though I have sickle cell, but I'm doing a lot better job taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people with sickle cell who are just incredibly hopeless, and they're going through the crises every day. And like there's people in Haiti and in third world countries where this is unfortunate, but when they're going through the crisis, instead of saying, hey, you have sickle cell or a medical condition, some people are thinking you have demonic spirits. So you literally are going through this pain episode alone, and you're getting socially outcasted. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because the pain episode, they look crazy. You're like, like you're just going, and like, if it's someone
Right.
who's uneducated or doesn't know enough, you're literally just getting casted. Like, this guy's demonic, throw him away. So I've met people from third world countries telling me that. And so pretty much, I think God gives us our greatest pain so we can turn it into purpose.
Facts.
And for me,
Come on, man.
it's true. It's true. We
Come on.
use it as testimony so we can help other people. That's what it's all about. And I am a lot more healthier, and I'm a lot more, and I know how to treat myself. And because of the education I have, I use it whether I'm writing, like you said, the published article, or talking about it on my YouTube channel. I do all these things, hoping that I can educate people on how to live with the condition. Because not only am I a doctor, so I can speak the medical language, but I literally live with it. So I think it's a unique perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah, like it's, the old, walk, you can't walk it, you can't talk unless you've walked it, right? So being
Yeah.
able to, you are living this every day, so you know what it takes, you know what they're experiencing. What better reference point? I don't say better reference point, but
Yeah.
perspective and point of view that you have versus someone that doesn't have it, that is a doctor that speaks on it. And not discrediting them by no
Yeah.
means, just for
Of
your
course.
journey and your experience. And we'll have to make sure to drop that into the comments as well. That you have that other platform that's sickle cell focus. I would love to share that across the world and
Ah,
with the people in the work that I
oh
know.
man, you're too
Either
good,
have
man.
sickle cell, that's what we're here to do. Together we rise, man. I say it all the
Yeah.
time. Like I
Yeah. Well,
there's no
that's
doubt
one thing I love about your platform. That's one thing I love about your platform, Joseph, that you're normalizing spreading good news, man. And my podcast is about that. And unfortunately, man, I don't think we get enough of that. I don't. It's unfortunate, but I feel like all the nonsense or like the ratchetness of the world, that's what goes viral. But when we start talking about, actually doing good works, talking about the Bible or spreading good works, like, it doesn't get as much attention. And I want to use my platform to change that. You know what I'm saying? And to make people feel a lot more compelled to watch stories that actually inspire them to be better. Instead of stories
Mhm.
that might might dilute your mind or whatnot. Because I think
Yeah,
subconsciously, when you're on social media doom scrolling or watching all those stuff not really helping you, I think it does something to your spirit. You know what I'm saying?
for sure.
Um, you know,
Um, I appreciate that. Seriously, that means a lot to me, man. So please know that. And we talked about it in Bible study. Thank you again for pulling up on us for the first time.
yeah,
Um, to continue to, grow in the word and grow in our faith together. Um, Partly of why God brought us together for sure. You're 77 episodes in, bro. This is what I want you to understand. You're 77 episodes in.
yeah,
Again, there's going to be 77 more and 77 more after that. Like,
yes, sir.
you
Amen.
also have quite a following, 21,000
Followers.
subscribers,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So, like,
yeah,
I hate saying followers because it's fans.
yeah,
Everyone's a fan. You have 21,000
yeah.
fans,
That's true.
so, your content is going to find them when it's supposed to find them. Just
Yes.
keep
Yeah.
having the faith, keep being consistent, keep being
Yeah.
you, because that's what brought them there in the first place.
Yes.
And the rest will write itself, right? It's,
Amen.
one thing that, and because I do a lot within the nonprofit space, and obviously the Good Service podcast, we focus initially was nonprofits or charities, foundations, fundraisers. Obviously, broaden that scope to individuals and organizations like yours, and also for profits that are positively impacting folks. And it's, if you can help one person a day, one
Yes.
person,
Yes.
or it's like, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. You do it for the right reasons.
Yes.
It's not about who's watching and who's not, because at
Amen.
some point the paradigm is going to shift, right? The pendulum's going to swing in a way where you're not viral. You've become a consistent pillar in this global community, and people know about Ike Inspiration. People know about the Good Service podcast. I'm only 25. This will be maybe episode 25 or 26. Like, I can't wait to have 100 episodes. I can't wait for 300, 400, 500 episodes.
Yes. Let's
But we're
go.
here right now, and it's about just
Yes.
keeping that rocking, keeping that rolling. And so, as us as leaders, staying locked into that, and again, remembering why we do this.
Yes.
God first, positivity second, good news, wholesome content, because we need it. The world needs it. The world is on fire, and people are just like, man, this is great, or man, this is really doing something to me. And they don't know that we exist. They have yet wait for the next 21,000 to find you and to find your episode, because they're going to be, man, where have I been? How did I not find him sooner? Why did I not come across him sooner? So,
and in addition to what you're saying about just helping one person, like I've also done, as I've started doing 77 episodes, one thing I've also learned is, low key, God is putting me as a servant to help the guests. A lot of these conversations I'm having are very introspective and therapeutic, and a lot of after the post conversations, the guests will be like, man, I needed that for myself. Like, that was very therapeutic. Like, your questions opened my eyes to some things that I needed to learn about myself. So that's actually a good point. And it's a good reminder that, like, we're serving each other. Like, even now we're helping each other, we're encouraging each other, and we're normalizing just great conversations rooted in Christ.
On that, finish this sentence. The world would be a better place if.
The world would be a better place if we all truly lived by God's word.
I subscribe to that. I get down with that.
Yeah. I think for me, I've been reading the Bible more, and reading the Bible has been giving me a lot of clarity on what is truly good and what we need. So I think the world would be a better place if we really followed the word of God and understood what he truly wanted from us. But I think there's just so much confusion and church heart and whatnot that it's kind of hard for people to get clarity on that.
For sure. Like, I was on a walk earlier today on the Beltline, and I got stopped by a young man, young woman who, funny enough, they're like, hey, we want to just help people investigate the Bible furthermore, right? Just to understand, like, what God is. And like, do you know what God is? And I'm like, yeah, God is love. And like, they didn't know who they were walking up on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They didn't know he was like, oh, they didn't know he was walking up on Joe D. But no, and so like that sparked a conversation. To your point, I've been having with friends that are figuring out what religion to follow, what religion means to them, what spirituality means to them, because they grew up either Catholic, they grew up Muslim, they grew up a certain way, and yet they're figuring it out for themselves. Like, as everyone should. You should investigate that, as everyone should. To the answer that you gave, right, that if everyone lived by the word, like, people don't even know what the word is. And the word is very simple. God is love. God called us to be loving and compassionate. And if the world, everyone's truly that, like, this place would be a very, 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 very different place. And unfortunately, like you said, there's church hurt. There are things that have weaponized, people that have weaponized religion and manipulated religion, and made it something that's not spiritual, and made it something that it's not. Therefore, you have the uncertainties, you have the insecurities, you have the I don't trust this
Mm-hmm.
because of
Mm-hmm.
what man has been doing for years, for thousands and thousands of years. This is playbook is not new,
Mm-hmm.
but it just takes through us being kind to others, being loving to others, being compassionate, um, you know, and letting that be. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that answer, man. All right.
Yeah.
What's your definition of good service?
Oh, that is interesting. Hmm. That's a good question. I would say for now my definition of good service is cheerfully given without any expectations
Facts.
in receiving anything in return. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Um, where does your heart to serve come from?
Hmm. That's also a good question, man. I I don't man, these are questions it's weird, man. I don't know, but I do know that whenever I serve people, I think that's what brings me true joy and happiness. So I just want to keep doing it. Now, where does that come from, bro? Honestly, I have no idea, man. Like, where maybe God. I'm curious. What's your answer to that? I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
It's something I would love to do, though. Yeah.
yeah. So my heart to serve, where that comes from.
Yeah.
Um, man, I'm probably gonna cry. Um, my mom, man. It comes from my mom.
Oh.
Um, it comes from my mom. I come from people of service.
Mm.
Whether that's in the military, army across the board, cousins, my dad, uncles, aunts. But yeah, it starts with my mom, and
Mm.
we didn't have a lot growing up. And
Mm.
she was a single mom for a little minute. So I still just in my mind don't understand even back then how she made it work. Having three boys that played sports damn near year round, made it work. There were times I'd need to run to the local food pantry because she just didn't have it that week, and so I'm coming home with a box of,
Mm.
cardboard box of just the essentials and things, and um, so it starts with my mom and just like seeing her give to other people when again we didn't have a lot to give, but to see her give what
Mm.
she could, time, energy, effort, money, right? Like just seeing her do things, and I don't know if she ever really noticed that I noticed. But seeing her in that story, and she has such a big heart. And then obviously,
Mm.
right, being impacted by other nonprofits and churches in the area that when we needed something, they were there. Even if we weren't a part of the
Mm.
congregation and went to that church, if they needed something, they were there.
Mhm.
So, then understanding that, going back, throughout high school, serving at the pantry or serving around the community with some of these nonprofits or just these, different missionary groups and folks that were doing good in the neighborhoods for folks that didn't have everything they needed. So
Mhm.
just seeing that and then the feeling that came from that at a very young age, it's just, hey, all I have is my two hands. I got a lot of energy. I got a big heart, and I just want to help somebody else feel better, feel good about whatever situation they're in, and to step away from that reality. So, it starts with my mom, man. It starts with my mom.
Yeah. Shout out to the
Um,
moms.
yeah, shout out to
My
mom, Mama T.
my
I know
mom.
she's watching this. She's gonna listen to it one or whichever way. So, mom, I love you so much. You already know
Yeah.
this,
No,
but
I
yeah,
mean,
that's
I
where
wouldn't.
and then obviously Christ, right? Like
Of
at an
course, yeah.
early age, I shared this when we had met over brunch.
Yeah.
My grandmother, so my mom's mother, my Nina. I'd go to church with her. We'd go to her house in South Carolina for like 2 to 3 weeks in the summer, and I loved going to church with her just because like I just loved spending time with her. I was just like her little helper, and then like being in church and then understanding who Christ was at a young age. You know, hey, again, compassion, be kind to others, treat your neighbors how you want to be treated. The golden rule. That's it.
Yeah.
So, you know, just from that, right, and the conversations I'd have with her, you know, I made a decision at a very young age just to be loving. Like that's it. And so it afforded me the foundation of my characteristics and who I am as a man today and who I'm still becoming, and the work that I'm doing that I love to do. And so, you know, it comes from her as well. And just the conversations she and I would have. Again, I was just a child, but just understanding what I could about who Jesus was. He was just a man that wanted to help and wanted to love people. Got it. So be like this guy. Easy. So that's where my heart to serve comes from, for sure. And then just God has allowed me to be in positions of service and in very obvious ways and very subliminal type ways, in ways I could have never imagined. And I love serving. I love it.
Same. Shout out to the moms, man. Yeah, if it wasn't for my mom, I definitely would not be where I am today, especially with my sickle cell disease. Like, my mom was with me during the times where every time I'm in the hospital, like, you know, she always made me feel a lot less alone. I remember when I was in the hospital and I would be going through the crises, like we would play gospel music together, and she would just be crying because, you know, she'd be watching me in pain, but there's nothing we can do. But we'll play gospel music together, and we'll pray together, and we'll love together. And I remember I would cry to her while I'm in pain, and I'm like, Mom, like, why did God give me this like terrible like disease? And she said God gives her toughest battles to his toughest soldiers. And I remember those words always rang true to me, like, you know. So yeah, shout out to the moms, like we especially the ones who love us unconditionally. I think that's such an important thing to have, you know, for sure.
Man, it breaks my heart for people that don't have a chance to meet their mothers or don't have a positive relationship with their mothers or what have you, because it's like, man, like I would not be the man I am without mom. So I would not. So that's a fact. All right. DJ Ike, what's your DJ name?
Ike Deezy. DJ Ike Deezy.
DJ Ike Deezy.
My friends used to, in college, my friends used to call me Ike Deezy, and then I just ran with it. So
I mean, I'm with it. It's there. Who is currently today in your top 5 rotation? So who are you currently listening to? Like the top 5 artists right now that you're currently listening to? Not of all time, just like right now. Who if you had to look at your Spotify or Apple Music, I don't know which one you use, but
Apple Music, yeah.
It's unfortunate.
That's no, I don't like. I'm sorry, I'm Team Apple Music guy. Nah, man, Spotify. I don't know, bro. You can miss me with them, bro. But I actually used to be team. I used to be team download my music from like the website and onto my thing, and I was doing that until last year, where I just had to get with the new, you know. But I used to be downloading my music. You know, I used to be that guy, like go on .pip and download my mixtapes and whatnot.
Oh, same, bro. High school, I had all the fresh music. I had the newest shoes. My friends were like, "You burn me a CD for the car? Done." I should have made a business of it, but I was just, you know, the nice guy. It was just like, bro, yeah. But yeah, who are you listening to right now? Who's your top 5 right now that you just?
I mean, it's really hard. As I grow older, my music taste just keeps growing and changing, and it's weird, man. I'll say this. I still listen to hip hop a lot, but to be honest, I'm a lot more conscious because as my relationship with God grows, there's just some really bad like music out there.
There's a time and a place for it.
There's a time and a place for it, for sure. So if I had to say, man, I would say, I don't know. Do you know who La Russell is? He's a West Coast artist, really dope artist. There's a super dope Christian hip hop artist who spreads good news and his music fire, named Alex Jean. I'm putting people on. Like these are just if you don't know who he is, you gotta go check him out. Joseph, if you don't know him, I'm telling you, he's super dope.
I know Alex Jean.
Oh, you do know him. Oh, awesome,
Oh yeah, I've
awesome,
been listening to
awesome.
it for a
Yeah.
couple years now.
Oh, okay. So you're hip. Okay, cool. And Kendrick Lamar is my favorite artist. So I would say he's in my rotation. I do listen to a lot of Afro beats too. So Thames, I listen to a lot of Thames. She's an
You
Afro
just
beat,
like what she looks
beautiful
like. You don't
singer.
listen to her.
No, no, I listen to her. Do you know who she is?
Yeah,
Uh, she, oh, okay,
yeah.
yeah. So her last project, Born in the Wild, was incredible. It came out last year. I highly recommend it if listeners never heard. And I've also listened to a lot of house music. So there's this artist called Dirk. He's an international Afro house music, and honestly, that's music that I've been playing the most because I don't know what it is, but him
It's
in
uplifting, bro.
particular,
It's uplifting. It's light. It gives you energy. Trust me, I've been listening.
yes,
My homie's
and
been making fun of
I
me for
and I
years because
oh
I've been.
my gosh, dude, you're like the first dude where I mentioned it and you actually like respond to it because most people like it's kind of like a South African thing and it's not really an American thing. But for the last like 2 to 3 months, I've just been like listening to it and I don't know
You're
what it is.
floating. Get it.
I feel like my soul is like he's like rising up and like I swear to I feel the presence of God. It's like I just feel like God, I swear I literally feel like the presence of God every time I'm listening to like Afro house music. In particular, like there's an artist called like Kaba De Small. There's another artist called Dirk that I've been listening to. They're both really great artists. But yeah, those I can go on and on. To be honest, it's not like a set. I listen to Tyler the Creator. I listen to Jay-Z. I listen to Miles Money. I could go on and on. I don't really know if I have a top five, because
Yeah,
my rotation is crazy. I listen to Future too. Sometimes I get into my ratchet bag, listen to Future. I'm accepting of all things, and then old
yeah.
school R&B. You
Never
can't
go
miss with
wrong.
Anita Baker and all that. So yeah, but I could go on forever.
No, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll have to definitely lock in on that on the one off.
yeah.
All right, man. We're getting to that point. Unfortunately, y'all, this is
Mhm.
the end of the conversation, the end of the show.
Okay.
Yes, it is called Before We Go. So it's as it sounds, literally, before we go. So before we go, Ike, this is a shameless plug. I want you to plug away all your Instagrams, all your social medias, where people can find you, how they can support, how they can refer
Hmm.
people to be on your show that are inspiring in their worlds and have
Sure.
impacted their worlds positively. So, brother man, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you. So I have a Instagram, and the handles Ike Inspiration with an S, so IKE Inspiration, Ike's Inspiration. Then if you go on YouTube and you just type Ike and Inspiration, you should find me. And you can also email me my first and last name at gmail.com. So IKEOKWEREKWU@gmail.com. And if you enjoyed this conversation and you would like to be a part of the show, feel free to reach out. Or if you just want to message and connect, I'm in Atlanta and I'm all about making in-person connections. That's how Joseph and I met. And if you like this conversation, truly, there's a good chance you and I would align. So yeah, reach out.
Fire, fire. You heard the man. Reach out. Ike's Inspiration across the board, YouTube, Instagram. Shoot him a DM, drop a comment. You know, see what's good. We grabbed brunch and it was a great time. We were going to meet
Yeah.
regardless, brunch or phone call, whatever.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
the in person thing, it still happens. We still be hanging out, breaking bread, all the things. All right, this is what we call closing remarks. So, whatever Ike is on your heart that you want to share, with the world, with our viewers, with our family, with our audience, with the community, what is that last message that you want to share in your parting words from the Good Starting Podcast?
Draw closer to God, and God would draw closer to you. I've just lately I've been on fire for God, and I'm actually slowly rebranding my podcast to make it more God centered, so that people not only align my podcast with entrepreneurship, but when they think about me, they're like, "Oh, he's a guy that talks about God." I feel called to do more of that, and I think the world needs more of God. So I would say that, and I end all my podcasts is with the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So let's keep dreaming.
Ooh,
Yeah.
man, y'all heard him. Y'all heard him. Seek and
Yeah.
ye shall find,
Yeah.
and vice versa. So, man, thank you for an excellent conversation, an excellent time. We had a ton of fun here at the Good Service Podcast having you, Ike Inspirations, on. Again, you're doing a beautiful thing. You know, you're inspiring people. You're
Thank you.
helping them in a lot of ways that you probably don't even realize. So, brother, from us at the Good Service Podcast to you at Ike Inspiration, let us know how we can continue to partner, continue to encourage, continue to just be there as a support system. You got that from me to you, from us to you. And that's it, everybody. Like, again, I'm your loving host, Joe D, Joseph Dunham, the one and only. This is the Good Service Podcast. We know that this is going to find you all when it's supposed to, how it's supposed to. So with that being said, come back. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, refer, share, all the things. Let us know what you loved about this episode, what you didn't love about this episode, if you're one of those type people. But nonetheless, I love you. We love you. And we'll talk soon.